Live.
Okay.
It is Wednesday. I woke up this morning. I weighed 155 pounds.
Oh my
Things are
gosh.
good.
Oh my
I'm
gosh. I'm
happy with
jealous.
myself. And I'm about to draw with a talent possessed uniquely by me.
There
The
you go.
ability to sketch the way I sketch. My goodness.
Are you doing drawn and quartered tonight?
I might, but I'll tell you how popular the topic is likely to be. It's Wolverine. Can
Oh
you
my
imagine?
gosh.
Can you imagine trying to elbow your way into that one?
Yeah. Well, you know.
So I would imagine there'll be it makes it. Oh yeah, I'll do a plug for all my
Oh, I
pals
didn't.
over at Drawn and Quartered on Blacklist Universe. They will be doing Wolverine tonight.
I'm fiddling with my settings, by the way. Okay.
Okay, that's all right.
Because I was looking. I pulled up my iPad and I realized that I had my camera on still, so I was to turn my camera off
Okay.
because
Whatever it takes.
I want to work on this tonight. So these are the first four. I always have trouble scanning my thumbnails, and they come out dark enough. My scanner doesn't do pencils very well.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, I automatically play with the levels on anything I scan. I never just leave them alone.
this looks pretty good. I think I'm going to do this. Right. I think I'm going with this big one here. I made it darker, and I think it's too dark. Well, my trick is, and anyone out there can steal this if they want. The trick is you take it and you duplicate the layer. If I can figure out how to do the thing. There we go. Duplicate layer, and then it will. If you set it to multiply, it will make it darker. See, so that's already darker.
Mm-hmm. What are you in? Photoshop?
Yeah, I'm in Photoshop.
Well, go up to adjust or whatever it is and hit levels, and you can make a happy thing. I'll show you. Go up to your levels and open them.
Right here.
Yeah. Now see that drag, that middle one. First off, take off that layer that you darkened with and just turn it off so you're not looking
Well,
at it.
hang on. I got two things open here. Okay, this is the.
Okay, yeah, okay, do levels on that.
Drag the middle one.
Yeah, drag the middle one toward the right. See how dark that went?
Yeah,
How nice it looks?
dark. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay,
and then drag the white over if you feel like it's got too much schmutz on it.
Oh, maybe that's what. Hang on, that's what I should do to the other one then.
Maybe.
See how this had gray? It needs to be more.
Yeah, do that. You can make that totally look right. Drag the right one over. The right one, the white. There you go. Keep dragging it, and drag the middle one toward it, and you'll find yourself happy in there somewhere.
Well, I doubt I'm ever happy. But...
Okay. Happiness.
No, that looks good right there.
Yeah.
I think. Let me do one more thing.
Are you trying to do that in the computer, or do you plan on printing those to do something with them?
Oh, well, I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna print them. But what I want to do tonight. These are the first 4 pages of thumbnails. So what I'm planning on doing tonight is preparing them for letter. I'm gonna blow them up, and so and I've got an idea. I'm kind of curious what you think about this. How do you feel about drawing comic pages at different sizes? Because I'm thinking about drawing these smaller.
The deal is there are no rules, and if you find yourself no less a legend than Walt Simonson, and no less a legend than Doug, tries to have their pencils finished at a very small size. You can draw twice as quick if you're drawing half size, and you probably have more gesture. They always say use your whole arm and all that. Yeah. Well, I never have learned how to draw with my whole arm motion, and probably never will. But I can draw like this, where I'm just swiping my my hand back and forth with my wrist, and that you can get the whole gesture if you're working small enough. If you're drawing something that is 11 by 17, and you've got to draw that gesture and keep that complete while you're drawing that whole thing there. Whereas if you're light tabling it and you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to keep that gesture I had in that small thing, then it's kind of fun. You're building on maybe some looseness. You've got some happy accidents that happened when you were working that dinky size.
Well, what I'm thinking about doing is actually, because I just finished lettering my issue 2. Issue 2 is completely done, and so what I'm thinking about doing is I am thinking about draw, and I felt like I felt like my thumbnail or my inks were not black enough or were not thick enough. And so I'm thinking about drawing at a smaller scale, just slightly, because I'm wondering if that will make it go faster.
You're talking about inking. You're actually going to ink it at size.
I'm talking about inking it at size, and I don't know how big. I mean, I haven't figured out the size yet. How big I want to do it at.
I think you'll find that your drawing can occur smaller, but inking, you kind of want that forgiveness to go on. Are you worried you wimped up your lines too much by going? Your line weight wasn't heavy enough. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think you can get a pretty quick fix on that. Whether or not it needs to be heavier than that, I don't know. I would say you'd want to be,
You think that's a mistake?
Well, I've worked like legal pad size before, and it came out all right, but the artwork didn't compare to the ones that I went traditional 11 by 17. It was better when I worked bigger. It also ultimately on the inks, it becomes easier to ink, but you do want the idea to still be in place, that you shouldn't get too precious with a whole lot of details. You should still be looking for that. That's why the small drawing idea is good, because it gives you a rough idea of how you might reduce the details and how you might go towards simplicity in terms of like doing your final inks. Because you've left out a lot when you're working small.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I was typing.
That's all right. Type.
So anyway, what I'm gonna try and do today is prepare these, and one of my disappointments with the last issue was the writer did not let me off on the hook on doing lettering. I had to do the lettering, which was okay. He asked me if I'd do it. I mean, I could have put my foot down and said no, but I'm going to be lettering.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is do what I did on the first issue and letter as I go, because it's a lot faster.
Well, yeah, just as long as it's not one of those things where you find yourself with, okay, now I got to go backtrack and redo a task 900 times,
No, it's much faster.
Yeah.
Because what I'll do is I'll save my illustrate. Now, what I won't do is word balloons. So I'm just going to place the lettering before I draw it, and I'll go from there. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm off work for the next couple of days for my birthday.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, what the heck? I thought you were snowed at work.
Well, you know what's crazy? We were, and those guys, I had a big, I don't want to say pep rally, and those guys really dug in and did it, really we got a bunch. We had a real productive week. I talked to my boss, and I said, because he said, well, just taking off because we're half a day on Friday anyway.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's not much time off. I go, yeah, I know. And so those guys like dug in and really we got a lot done. And so I'm going to take off. So today's my last day for the week.
All right. I bet there's a lot of people listening that wish it was their last day for the week.
Oh, I bet. Well, I mean, my job has its flaws, but I really love my job. It's a pretty good. I'm in a pretty good situation. It's something I've done for a long time, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's pretty frantic, and I get a lot of dude.
Well, it's good because that's a sort of a business that has to have a sales crew out there beating the bushes, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a lot of salespeople there, and all those salespeople seem to like me, or at least they act like they like me. And they're always very, and it's funny because like today, one of the big guys came by my desk, and we were talking about an order of his that I didn't do the art on, but one of my artists did. And there was some questions, and there was a bunch of back and forth emails, and it's very apparent that that there's kind of like a go-between that like processes the order of my work. It's very apparent that this salesperson, that this go-between was not the right guy to be handling this. And I told one of the new artists that I work with that I hired like a year ago, it's like, dude, you want to be the guy that when they have a problem, they'll come talk to you, and not that they're like dread talking to you.
Yeah.
If you can make if you're listening to this, anybody's listening to this, this is good advice. If you want to get ahead at your job or whatever, be the guy at your work or whatever your situation is, be the guy that solves other people's problems. Because that's what a lot of people are looking for. And don't be the guy that complains all the time, and don't be the guy, you can ask questions, but don't be the guy that asks a million questions. And can't, if they ever think that you're incompetent, you got to convince them that you know what you're doing, and that you're the guy to help them out, and they'll love you. I got Employee of the Year 2 years ago, and I won some other award last year. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Well, it sounds consistent with what I know about people and interactions and stuff. People don't like to work too hard.
Yeah, that is the truth, man.
Yeah. There's that's the deal. And complaining has become such an art. With complaining types, that you want to minimize your exposure to what they might be saying about you.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, if you're in a position that you want people to, I mean, like at a job, generally, or say we'll take it into comics or whatever. Generally, you want to be the one that people want to work with.
Yeah.
And who don't people want to work with? They want to be the guy that doesn't know what he's doing, is always complaining.
Blames you for everything.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you something else. There's a guy at my work that is notorious for that. And if there's a problem, he'll blame everybody. And people think they're getting away with it, but what they don't realize is people see that. And then it's like, if there's a problem that somebody else causes, they automatically get blamed. I mean, I've been in meetings where this guy's been totally innocent, and they've been like, well, it must have been his fault, And, so don't
be that guy.
Yeah, you got to kind of be a stand-up guy, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So you don't want that sketchbook?
What sketchbook? Oh, yeah. Scott is referring to a sketchbook that's really well made. I'm turned away from my speaker right now.
Yeah.
so I can drag it out. Here's the sketchbook being referred to. It's called a Fabriano Classic Artist Journal, and I've nearly filled mine up. What do I lack here? Let me count the pages I lack.
And so I ordered Ellis one, and they decided he didn't want it, which is fine because I ordered. I mean, it's a good deal.
Scott sold me at first on my need of it, and then I backed out on it. But I've got low sales resistance. What can I say?
Well, I don't want to force it. I mean,
I know you don't. Yeah.
I mean, at the price I got it for, I mean, it's about half the regular price, and that's one of those deals. I don't think they're going to make those forever, Ellis.
No, it's like any art supply. There are ones that go away, and then people go a little bit nuts, and they all order. You know, they empty the warehouse basically to try to get a hold of them.
Well, and Fabriano makes spiral sketchbooks, and I had a little one that I bought forever, and I bought it because it was cheap. It was like $3 or $4. And, you know, it was a little 8.5 by 5.5 spiral bound sketchbook. But the book, I love the paper in it, and
hey, look at this. See this? If somebody makes a good comment or makes any kind of comment.
Oh, it pops up at the bottom.
Yeah, I can. Anybody that does comment, it allows me to click on it and show it. Can you see that utility? Can you do that?
Yes.
How about that?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, I'm watching on my iPad that I got underneath my monitor.
Okay. Gotcha. I ordered the audio book. These just happens to be a time when people are talking up That Hideous Strength by
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis, and turns out our library has the audio book, so I've got it right now on my hard drive, ready to put into iTunes and have a listen. I was about to say something else, but better not.
Is the Hideous Strength part of one of his series?
It's the third one in the the
Outer Space series.
Yeah, Out of the Silent Planet.
Oh, that's
and
it.
Paralandra, and That Hideous Strength. And the first two are easy to read. They're almost children's tales. You know, they're fun.
Yeah.
And simple and have a very linear storytelling thing. You're never lost in them. Whereas That Hideous Strength, you get into it and it's like, is this supposed to be part of the same thing? I don't get it. You know, and it's like you'll go through 90% of the book without saying, they still haven't touched base on what I know, you know, and it's like, but then they get around to it, you know. So I'm going to give it another chance and, you know, see if those comments I just made are in fact accurate. But that was my impression when I tried to read it. I can be that way though. I mean, I can early on say, hey, this is bad. This isn't as good as this isn't what I expected. And then learn later that, you know, after a few years that I was completely wrong about it. You know?
Well, I think any sort of entertainment that you absorb, there's a time factor to it. You know what I'm saying? Or
it's of its time for one thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but even beyond that, I think your head has to be in. I'm not trying to sound like a hippie or anything, but your head has to be in the right space, so to speak.
Yeah. No, you didn't. Yeah, you're right. It's weird. Yesterday, not yesterday, the night before. There's this horror movie called The Wailing. It's Korean.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought, you know, considering how much I just dabble and go into just well, I just go into just a little bit of something and then turn it off and say, okay, I don't want to watch that. You know, all these options you've got on Netflix and such.
Oh yeah.
This was actually on the channel Shudder, and I got into it. It's a 2.5 hour movie. And I hung with that thing for 2.5 hours. I can't believe, And I'll have to say I liked it. Yes, obviously, but you know why? It's because it was 100% character driven. It was really cool in terms of that. That you always had character moments that were always coming at you. It was pretty good that way.
Oh, that's cool.
And it also made you want more. That crucial thing of saying, now tell me who is who and all that. You know, you were always having to sort these things out. It's kind of cool. It's a combination ghost story, possession story. It's kind of neat.
Oh yeah. No, what was the name of it again? The Wailing.
The Wailing, yeah. It's also got I don't. I'm just assuming the Koreans hate the Japanese like pretty much everybody hates everybody in that part of the world. But
Yeah, yeah.
but that's what it also features. Something about it. It's like the main guy that's suspected of being the evil person is the Japanese outsider living in a shack close to the main Korean community.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I recommend it in terms of anybody that actually drops in here and actually listens to these things.
My wife was out of town last weekend, or last half of last week, and I had bought. Well, we went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and I had bought Jackie Brown off the clearance rack at Half Price Books, which I'd seen bits and pieces of, and so I watched it. I'm reading the book it's based off of, Rum Punch.
Rum Punch.
And I watched the movie. That's a really good movie, man.
Yeah, I mean Robert De Niro doing a good job.
Oh yeah.
God, that guy. It's like you know, don't push certain of his buttons. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You killed my cute little surfer girl.
He just shoots her just heartlessly.
Yeah.
Yep. He wasn't having any of her crap.
I like how he just involuntarily, he couldn't help himself, looked over at her to say, "Well, now see, I managed it."
Yeah, look.
But then he realized, oh yeah, she's dead. I can't gloat.
Yeah, I can't really blame her.
Yeah. Well, he wanted a quick moment of gloating that, hey, look, I figured it out. You acted like I was stupid.
Yeah.
I guess I am. That's the kind of stuff Tarantino, you know, is obviously. I would imagine his process is kind of like, you know, he's living that stuff when he does it.
Oh yeah, I kind of think that too. Is that he's very into it.
I'm playing with the settings.
Gotcha.
That works. I think probably my little thumbnails probably benefit from this size. Actually, I think I did improve something by this new layout.
Oh, did you?
I'm not sure what I improved. The deal here that mystifies me is that for your thing, it only gives you a. That's because your iPhone is off, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm on the computer.
There we go. There's you totally. Okay, there's me big, you small. Oh, wait a second. Now I've messed everything up. There we go. That's what I want.
I pity anybody that's watching us jack around this stuff.
No, that's what they needed at the moment was to. Well, I'll just go ahead and show what I've been up to. Large.
Man, everybody's jumped on your Discovery.
What do you mean there?
Well, the replacement for Hangouts, whatever it is. Stream.
Oh yeah. The StreamYard, yeah.
Oh, you're working on your Wolverine. Hey, did you?
Yeah, I'm doing warm-ups on it. There's a bunch of poses.
Did you get what I was saying Sunday when I told you what I thought you needed to work on?
I'm not sure. What did you? I don't remember.
Because we were comparing your work to the winner or whatever that guy's name.
Oh yeah. Michael Weldon.
Yeah, I just think that he had a real his had kind of a Wally Wood look to it, really, if you look at it. I mean, just look at the inking, you know.
Uh huh.
And I think,
He is he's got like mutant abilities when he in terms of what he can do in an hour.
oh yeah,
It's pretty incredible.
if he did that in an hour, that's pretty impressive.
Well, a couple hours.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Was he cheating?
like John Malin, I asked if he was just like worked from the inside out because I was misinterpreting what I was seeing because he does so much with Lost Line and all that. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
maybe he was one of these guys that could actually start drawing at one point and work his way out from something, and that way minimize goof ups on his contours or something. But no, he's working it out just like anybody would be working it out. It's just kind of a little bit invisible to you because by the time he is inking those little faint pencils, it just seems like magic because he knows
oh yeah.
he's just a step ahead on what he can do when he starts filling it in. It's really good.
Well, and that's one thing I'm gonna do. I spent so much time erasing my stinking pencils. I'm penciling lighter on issue 3.
Yeah, it is annoying to
Oh my
because
gosh.
it gives you a feeling of kind of like starting over, and yet you should be ready to say, okay, that little dab of information, it's only going to get me so far. Uh, Clean it off, start again. That sort of thing has to go on.
Yeah. Well, I'm changing that particular aspect of it
Yeah,
because I'm not doing that again.
yeah. I don't know if this is considered cheating to be drawing Wolverines in case I am called on to. I guess I would open up another browser tab and make sure I'm not. Of course, that doesn't happen until 9 o'clock. It's going to be 8 here, and we'll probably quit about 8.
Yeah.
This one's a little. I actually I used my little. I could bring that in from the other room. Talk amongst yourself. I got to make sure my coffee heater's still on too. I'll be back. I'll be back in a second.
It wouldn't be a live stream without Ellis leaving to go get coffee. Anyway, if you're listening to this, if you're following this, I guess a few people are watching. Um, I'm working on issue 3 of Heaven's Rejects. If you watched any of these, that's kind of what I've been working on. I did a sample where I was working on a sample. I never finished it. But this is a book I'm doing with a guy named Greg Wright. It's about 3 angels that get kicked out of heaven, and they come to Earth to fight crime, basically. But they end up fighting demons and stuff. And so anyway, so I've been working on that, or that's what I'm working on. And I finished issue 2 this weekend, lettering it. And so now what I'm doing is I'm really just fitting text on there. I mean, you can see there's a lot of text right here. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that it all fits. And it's really close right there. There were a few spots in issue 2 where I felt like it was really tight, and so I just want to double check myself. I'm not a letterer naturally. I was hoping that we could get a letterer for issue 2, but the writer asked me if I would letter it so it would be consistent, and so I thought that just made it consistently bad, but hey, whatever. No, I mean, I don't mind lettering. Again, except it is one of those deals where it's like, I want to be done with it. it's amazing when you're lettering this stuff. When I'm figuring out, I'm using Adobe Illustrator, by the way, and I use that every day, so I'm real comfortable with the program, and I have for years. But it is amazing that you can put just hitting a return there made all that fit. The spacing does weird stuff.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, did you get coffee?
Yeah, I did get coffee. So anyway, what I was talking about is using this little fella here called Sticky Bones, which I only waited about 2 years for. But when it finally did arrive, I had to admit this is a step above as far as posable models. It is really kind of cool. And of course, I've got an awful camcorder, so I can't really give you a vision of how neat it is. But it is very posable. So I got a guy that I wanted him slouching back, eating a sandwich, enjoying himself at the office when he notices the hobo outside the window. It's my take on our little story we did.
Our story.
Yeah, called the Hobo's Bindle. And man, I got the pose just so, and it just improved the drawing so much more than what I would have invented out of my head to manipulate the little guy and put him in the position and the attitude. That's the deal. It's like when you're playing with this thing, it's like you've got it right in front of your face. You can see the emotions that might come. You know body English and everything. So so you can see when it starts to work, and then of course that capacity of turning it 3D and maybe figuring out the best shot. And then it really works. Goes to work for you.
I have a Daredevil action figure that I bought. Oh my gosh, back in the early 2000s, and that's what I use for that kind of thing.
It can be.
It's helpful. I like your Sticky Bones better than my Daredevil because the Daredevil it's a regular action. Now it's really jointed. But it's still a regular action figure.
Sure. It's got limitations.
It has limitations. That Sticky Bones it's heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier duty. It's big. You can see the scale here is. Let me see what he is from head to toe here.
Hang on just a second. I'll grab that Daredevil.
Okay. Sticky Bones is about 9 inches high from head to toe. Wait a minute. No, that's more like eight inches.
Okay, so I got two figures here hang on, let me turn my camera on.
You have to turn your camera on.
Okay, is my camera on, Ellis?
The one that's got, yeah, here we go. Oops, I probably just removed that. I don't know. I don't see your camera on. There's something called Commander X, where there is, not yet. Not that I can see. I should see it down in the, like the queue, I would think, for waiting to be added. I don't see it. That's all I can say about that. I think your sound has gone off too. I don't know. I'll draw to entertain. Oops, you're gone, I guess. Let me add you somewhere here. Add to stream. There you are. I'm sorry. It's probably okay. my.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is my Daredevil.
Oh, okay, cool.
And
make you large.
Okay, so this is the Daredevil figure that I have, and it's fairly jointed. There we go. It's fairly jointed, and it's fairly lightweight. It won't hold a pose, but it's great for like foreshortening and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And I've had this for years, and I've used it, and you can even see where, like I've drawn some of the muscles in on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to give yourself a.
Yeah, just to know where the edges are of muscles. So I have this, and then I bought this a few years ago, and this is actually nicer, but I don't seem to use it as much. I think I don't use the. This is
Oh, that looks like a really nice posable figure.
yeah,
It looks really good.
for scale.
You got to keep that thing handy.
Yeah. And these are kind of expensive, but I think I got a knockoff off of Amazon, or maybe I got it off of eBay, and it was about $30, which is kind of expensive. It's a lot more expensive than the action figure. But the nice thing is its shoulders, dude. It has a little more shoulder action.
Roll those up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has hands that you can change, but I kind of like these hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I think I know what that figure is. That's a good one. The Japanese are who to monitor because sometimes they'll come out with a toy.
Yeah.
It has got every bit of the appeal of this Sticky Bones and utility of this Sticky Bones because they've just gone to the trouble of just making this one-of-a-kind toy. And,
yeah.
You know,
Well,
years ago, willing to wait for it and then you pay the money for it, to have quite a thing arrive.
Yeah, years ago, I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Years ago at San Diego, they had one of the booths had an action figure that I liked, but they weren't for sale. It was like a Japanese thing, and I was like, this would be great for drawing, but I don't think they ever released them here.
Yeah, that's the deal. You've got to get that insider knowledge or something on how to get an inside track on those things. A trip to Japan, that's one of the few things, how I'm unlikely to put myself through too many hassles, but I don't know. I might go for a trip to Japan. It still strikes me as a America-friendly kind of place to go. I mean, in terms of like comparatively speaking, I just as soon not be victimized by being who I was as a tourist. Oh, you're gone. Add to stream. Wait a second. There you go. I'm sorry. I guess I'm not monitoring this closely enough. We're not hearing you though, Scott. I've got your computer screen on. So there's a guy that looks like he's pitching. He could become Wolverine. There is something about posing that you think you've got it kind of like, you've knocked out your poses before. And animators, I recommend anybody try to do a little animation at some point or other to realize just what you can create out of your head versus needing reference for. And I worked on a game, Jurassic Park, where I had the very best. Hey, Scott, I guess you can probably hear me, but we can't hear you if you're talking. Hey, Star Stories Teller, I just want to go to Japan. I assume the main Japan place to go would be, where do I want to go? That's a good question. I'm not sure. The bigger cities. Star Storyteller. Hey, everyone. That's turning into a major mess. Hey, there you are. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. For whatever reason, just you're sharing the screen, we couldn't hear you.
No, that's strange. I don't know what the deal is. Oh well. Yeah, I don't. It's funny you talk about wanting to go to Japan. I would love to go to Japan. I don't know where. Tokyo.
Tokyo. There we go. I was drawing a blank on cities I would want to visit, and I couldn't think of Tokyo, even though I know Godzilla destroys Tokyo on a regular basis.
I think that's fiction, though.
Yep. Yep.
Well, my company does a lot of work with a couple factories, or actually, me personally. Well, not personally, but through my day job, I do some work with some factories in China, and so they're always telling me, "Oh, we're going to send you over to China," but they
You,
haven't
you,
done it
you,
yet.
you haven't gone yet.
No, I'd like to, I think, but everybody that I know that's gone at my work has hated it. But these are also people that tell me I would never. They'll tell me, "How can you stand going on vacation in New York City? I'd never go to New York City." So
Yeah,
I don't.
they don't know what's good, do they? Yeah.
Well, I think they're anti-city people.
Yeah.
I told someone my birthday is this weekend. It's Friday, and I was telling somebody's asked me what I was going to do, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to go. I want to go to the 45th Infantry Museum, and I'm going to do some drawing and this kind of thing." And a guy was telling me, "Well, you should go out to the woods and go camping." And
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that sounds like you might as well have said you might as well like cut your hand off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not a big one for roughing it, and which is kind
No.
of funny.
No.
Considering my background, my dad loved to go out and hunt and all that, and loved to fish and go to deer camps and all that kind of stuff. And I just didn't have that part of me that really thought that was the best thing to be up to.
Oh, China's about to attack Hong Kong. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I don't know about that literally, but yeah, they're. Is it Hong Kong or Taiwan?
It is Hong Kong. They
it is Hong Kong.
I mean, this may be the big move they put on it to make it official that there is but one China. And of course, they've got the manpower to do it. Anytime they ever wanted to just put their foot down and say it's over, there is no such thing as Hong Kong or whatever. There is China, and that's it.
Well, the worst thing I think. Well, I don't want to turn into the politics show, but the worst thing that happened was when Hong Kong went back to China.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can imagine the pressure being brought to bear by a force that even though you might want to say you are in spirit willing to project the force necessary to keep China from overwhelming you, it's just, if that's just on paper, you might be able to do it. You'd have to nuke them to keep them off of you if they decided to go for it. There's just no way that they couldn't overwhelm anything you put in front of them.
Yeah, well, the problem is most of our military hardware comes from there, and they just outclass. I mean, I say this as a guy in manufacturing, but they outclass us. We have stuff made there because I can't make it in my plant.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly not. Forget about price point. They do stuff that we can't do. And I don't make electronics or anything, so it's not that. But they just when you have a low cost of labor, it allows you to make investments in technology and stuff that we don't have the advantage of here.
Yeah, we'd have to do exactly what they did to us when they were climbing out of there or trying to become competitive. We'd have to send envoys over and get dedicated to copying everything we saw, basically.
Yeah, I think we could compete with them, but I don't know if we. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's
Okinawa is good if you want tropical and more slow pace. There is the Peace Museum. Hiroshima that was bombed has a peace museum.
Yeah. I want to go and see. I want to see like anime stuff and like crazy Japanese stuff.
Sure. Someone had clips from Porco Rosso. Have you ever seen that? That was Red Pig, I think.
Yes.
And that's one of the more obscure of the films by the guy that did
Murakami.
Laputa and all those.
Studio Ghibli, I guess.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli. Yeah, they did. Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, my favorite is
the one about the valley with the bugs in it.
No, no. Hang on. Sorry. I clicked something on my illustrators want me to buy the new version, which isn't going to happen, by the way. It's no. The one where they're at the bathhouse where the parents turn into pigs.
Oh, yeah. Spirit something or other.
Spirited Away.
Yeah, Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to say what my favorite is. I'm always going to really dig some of the climax action of Lapata, because they've got some moments in that that are just so solid gold work, like when that red robot is raising hell and the kid saves the little princess, and it's just done so well. When the old lady takes a rock to the head, and the kid is crashing, and he's having to bring the bumblebee air cycle under control. That's just classic action. Porco Rosso is awesome, and there is Ghibli, and Ghibli does have a museum. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of it.
Well, Scott, what do you think? It's 8:00.
Oh yeah.
Did you want to plug anything? I think I may have been. I need to make sure I'm cut and pasting all my our data. I think the last weeks I didn't do that. like we're waiting for some sort of big Nausicaa is tied. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. The Valley with the Bugs, where they got the little girl that.
Oh yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellis, my downloads for my podcast have gone crazy this week.
Cool.
I mean, I've probably in the last 3 days had 100 downloads and listens to my podcast, just on the host, not counting anybody that listens on YouTube or even iTunes for that matter. So yeah, if you want to check out my podcast, I do a podcast called Scott at Midnight, where I talk about all kinds of crazy things. It can be anything. The last episode was Growing Up in the Suburbs. This week will be the continuation of that, Growing Up in the Suburbs 2. There's a new episode every Sunday night at midnight. Like I said, I'm working on a book called Heaven's Rejects. I've got a deal for it with Source Point Press. Nothing's in writing, but they've agreed to publish it. I just got to get the thing done. I got to get 4 issues done. I'm working on issue 3 with a writer named Greg Wright. And check out my website, scottshackett.org. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, that sort of thing. So, you can check out my art there.
Very cool.
That's it. My phone's ringing.
Well, that's a good point to say goodbye.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm going to plug a bunch of other data in here if you want to come back to it later. Thanks, Star Storyteller, for texting us a few times.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and I appreciate everybody that watches this. Thank you.
Okay, see ya.
See you, Ellis.
Okay, the broadcast is ended, and we're still talking.